back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up. So happy Friday, and today's video is going to be how I made this dress. So this is, you can only just see it, hang on, that's probably a little bit better. Okay, so this dress is actually a hack of the Sagebrush top by Friday Pattern Company, and I've made this top before, absolutely love it, and decided that I thought it was just ripe for hacking into a dress with a ruffle on the bottom of the skirt. And so I've had a go, and I thought I would just have a little chat to you about how I made changes to it to create a dress from this pattern. So if you don't know, the Sagebrush top is a pattern for a woven fabric by Friday Pattern Company, and it's got this cute little ruffle that is into a front yoke here. You've got these gorgeous little puffed sleeves with elasticated hem, and then it's got a cute little tie around the back and a back yoke as well. And then normally it comes to, it's got some like pleating just underneath the ruffle here in the front to allow for bust shaping, and then it falls into sort of high hip length, I would say. So I will insert some pictures of this dress as I talk to you through the vlog, but I'm not going to sort of go into details about the pattern itself, because there are loads of pattern reviews for this top out there. It's quite a popular pattern, and if you head on over to Instagram and look at the hashtag, I'm sure you'll see some fabulous versions out there. It's fairly quick make, to be honest, and yeah, I can whip this up in 2 or 3 hours. You know, it's great. So this fabric, I'll just talk to you about the fabric first, is actually, if I come closer, is actually a organic spot double gauze fabric that I got from Higgs and Higgs. I will leave the link to it down below. It's really lovely, really beautiful, and it's going to be perfect for spring and summer. And yeah, I just thought that it would be great to create a dress from this pattern. Now, I didn't really have any sort of inspiration for this dress. It was just something that popped into my head of being able to create, not just lengthen the bodice as it was, but actually create more of a full skirt with a bit of a ruffle on, midi length, and then shirring the waistline as well. So to be able to do that, I basically looked through the patterns that I'd got in my stash to find a skirt that would create the effect that I was after. And I decided that I did want to have a waist seam in there, and I explain a little bit more in some of the clips that you will see as I add them into this vlog as to why I did that. Because you could just lengthen the if you just lengthened the blouse as is, you wouldn't get that fullness of the skirt that you need for this particular hack. So I do talk a little bit more about the changes that I needed to make to the bodice to be able to create the type of style that I was looking for. But I just thought, you know, this sort of gypsy peasant style is great for summer, isn't it? And I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. So I'll just stand up and show you the dress in a little bit more detail. So essentially I've still got the sort of blousiness of the original Sagebrush top, and then I have created lots of shirring using shirring elastic into this little waistband here. And it's not perfect. I did have a few issues shirring, but you know, I'm fairly inexperienced with shirring. It's not something I've done a lot of, but I am actually really pleased with how it's turned out. And then if I just stand on this chair, you will see I've got a bit more of a full skirt with this lovely ruffle which comes to sort of just below my knees. Now, it is quite transparent, I would say, and this fabric is quite lightweight, but it works perfectly well for this dress. And I do have a slip somewhere in my drawers upstairs, and I think, you know, once I start wearing this outside when the weather warms up a bit, because it's still fairly cold actually here in Yorkshire today, then I probably will wear it with a slip out. But I'm going to insert the film that I've taken of how I hacked the pattern to create this dress now, and then I'll come back to you at the end. So I had this crazy idea of hacking the Sagebrush. I made this in Lace and Viscose in January, I think it was, and I really love it. And I've got this idea to hack it into a dress, and I want to make a dress with a big ruffle on the bottom. And I've got this gorgeous organic cotton gauze from Higgs and Higgs. It's beautiful. It's like ivory with obviously little dark black spots on, and I've got 3 meters of it, and I'm hoping I've got enough to do what I want to do. So I'm going to make the top, and then I've been hunting in my stash and I've found this dress, which is McCall's M8110, the Journey, and it's this skirt that I'm looking for, of basically cutting out of this fabric and attaching it to the Sagebrush, and I think it'll look amazing for spring and summer. Now this pattern does say that it is designed for moderate stretch knits. However, I think because it's only the skirt that I'm going to be dealing with, and actually this gauze does have some stretch in it anyway, I think it will be okay. Now, view A does say you need, let's have a look, for my size, which will probably be between a 10 and a 12, 2 3/8 and 2 3/4 meters, but obviously that's including the top. So I'm thinking, you know, the Sagebrush with the skirt portion of that, I'll have enough with 3 meters. I want to do it to sort of midi length. I think midi length will be really nice for spring. So I'm going to get this traced out, the skirt portion of this traced out, see how it matches up to the Sagebrush, and then we'll take it from there. Right, I've just dug out the pattern, and yeah, it's just rectangles. So the only pieces I need actually are 9 and 10. So this is the skirt front and back, cut 2 on the fold, and then another one, cut 2 on the fold. So they're just rectangles. So I think I'm just going to cut these out straight as they are. Well, I might just trace them off, to be honest. It's, yeah, 2 rectangles. How difficult can it be? I think what I'm probably going to do is I might just make these a little bit bigger. With these being meant for a jersey, obviously there's going to be a little bit of stretch in there, and I do want quite a decent ruffle. What I am planning to do is, looking at this pattern design, I actually really like this. I really like the sleeves as well, but anyway, we won't get sidetracked. We're sticking with the Sagebrush. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shear the waistline, because the Sagebrush obviously is loose fitting around the waist, and it won't, I don't want it gathered in. I think that'll just look wrong. So I think I'm going to use shirring elastic and shear the waistline. I need to make sure that this ruffle, which is, well, this is the skirt and this is the ruffle, I need to make sure that the waistline top of this skirt matches the waistline of the Sagebrush, which is currently over there on the top of my ironing board. And then once I know that that matches, that will shear in nicely. So yeah, let's get the Sagebrush out. We'll have a look at the bodice pieces first. Then I think I'm going to trace this off, and then I'll know how it's going to fit. Right, so the top part is done. That was quick, wasn't it? Wish it was that quick in real life. All except for the sleeve hems. I've not hemmed these yet because I am just debating whether I actually want to do a tie on the sleeve as well, which I've got enough of the fabric left, so I could do that if I wanted to. But what I want to do first is I want to get the skirt portion on and the ruffle and just see what I think first, before, I don't want it to be too much, and at this stage I'm not sure whether it will be. So I'm really pleased with it. It's this fabric is just beautiful. It's so soft, it's lovely and lightweight. What I have done, I will just show you, is I'm just going to get the pattern pieces out. I ended up measuring from the bottom of the arm side to the waist, and I did that on myself because obviously what I'm planning to do is I'm going to be shirring the waistline of this dress. So I need the Sagebrush top hem obviously comes down to much lower, it comes down to your hip level, and I needed to cut this off at the waist. So I measured myself between the arm side and my waist, and then I just took that measurement on here, drew a line straight across, and then what I've done is I've just flared out the side of the Sagebrush from the arm side to the waist so that this measurement across here matches up with the skirt pieces. Now the skirt pieces, originally I traced it off because I think I mentioned, didn't I, that these were just plain rectangles to make a skirt and a ruffle. And then I decided originally that I was going to curve it off, and then I changed my mind. So all I did was use the original pattern pieces to cut out the skirt, 2 rectangles for the skirt, front and back, and the same for the ruffle. So I'm now going to get these sewn together. I'm going to get them attached to the bottom of the waist of the Sagebrush, and then we can get the shirring in and see what it looks like. So ruffles on at the bottom. It's looking very night dressy at the minute. And yeah, it's going okay. There's the waist seam line there. Now looking at it, some of you might be thinking, why did you just not extend the Sagebrush top out? I can't even say it, can I? Sagebrush top. Why did you just not extend it down and then add the ruffle? Because you would have ended up without a seam line at the waist. But the reason I wanted a seam line at the waist is so that I've got a guide when I do my shirring, because otherwise trying to get your shirring in exactly the right spot so that it is, you know, exactly the right distance from the gathering of the ruffle here, and making sure that it's dead central on your waist, is actually quite difficult to do. I've made errors before when I've been putting waist lines in, when I've been elasticating a waistband, and trying to find that midpoint is always harder. So at least now, having that seam line, I know that that is dead central, and I've got that guide to go off when it comes to inserting my shirring elastic. So I'm going to get my faff set up with the shirring elastic. I have to find it first because I don't know where it is. I think it's in one of these little tubs somewhere, and then I'll show you how we do the shirring. Right, so the first thing I'm doing is changing my needle. This is a universal needle that I have had in, and when I have done shirring before, I've found that the best needle to use is these ones, the Microtex needles. So this just seems to work really well for me. Shirring elastic I've found looks like this. It's quite stretchy. You put that in your bobbin, which is just in there, and the bobbin, you either need to hand wind it, or if you've got a machine like mine where you can alter the speed of the bobbin winder, then you can do it on a slower speed, because you don't want to be stretching this in the bobbin. It just needs to go in as it is. You also need a longer stitch length, so I'm going to alter my stitch length to probably a 3.5, I think. And then the other thing you need to do is practice. So first things first, I am just going to have a little practice and see how it goes. Oh, it would help if I thread the needle. That appears to be okay. So you tend to do an odd number of stitches. Can you see how that's gathering up? I mean, that's obviously only one row, but you tend to need to do an odd number of rows of stitches. So I tend to do 5 or 7, but we'll see. I'm going to start off just below the waistband seam, and we'll see how we get on.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through and through. finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
Right, I'm going to show you how to refill your bobbin with shirring elastic because mine's run out. So I tend to just hold the end with my thumb, and then you just want to be winding it without actually stretching the elastic. As I say, my machine does do this if I put it on a slower speed, but I thought I would show you how to hand wind it in case you have, you know, I appreciate that I've got quite a high-end machine and not everybody does. And for those of you that have never used shirring before and you're going to have to hand wind, this is how you want to be doing it. I'm hoping you can see this. So you just want to make sure it's nice and even as much as possible. And I am not stretching this elastic at all. I'm literally just unwinding it from the thread spool that it's on and just wrapping it around the bobbin. Okay. I'm going to just chop off that end bit there. All right then. So what you also have to remember is that when you are shirring, your bobbin will not hold as much elastic as what it does thread. So when you're shirring something like a waistband like this, you are going to need to have probably at least 2 or 3 refills of your bobbin. So it might be worthwhile doing that before you start. Done. So here is my Sagebrush dress hack. So I've shirred all the waistline. It's not my best effort, but it's done. And the tie's done. I've got the elastic in the sleeves. The tier's done. It's all hemmed. And shock horror, I have hemmed this on my sewing machine. I haven't hand hemmed it. And I've not even done a blind hem because I think for this style of dress, it's going to look absolutely fine. So all it needs now is for me to try it on and see how it looks. So I hope you enjoyed having a little look at how I put this together. If you have got any questions at all, if there's anything that I haven't covered, then please leave them in the description box down below and I will get back to you. Essentially, if you don't have a pattern, skirt pattern pieces like this, just 2 rectangles basically, which is fairly easy to draft yourself. You just need to make sure you add the seam allowances that you want and make sure that the diameter of the hem of the top matches the diameter of the upper skirt piece as well when you create those rectangles. And then it's just a case of stitching them on and shirring them together. It's, you know, it's that straightforward really. So I hope you like the dress that I've created. I'm sure I'm going to create some more of these. I'd like a black one or a navy one. I think that would be nice for summer as well. But I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. It was, you know, fairly straightforward. So anyway, as I say, if you've got any more questions, please leave them in the description box below. And I hope you've enjoyed this vlog and I will be back with you really soon. Take care. Bye.
I can weather any storm.